had a suspicion for some time that the majority of the men who spend their days online criticizing women are often doing so out of a place of jealousy. And frankly, the evidence of that is everywhere, but it looks like some men are starting to notice this as well.
This whole men want to be women thing, I did not realize was actually real. My friend sent me a video of this guy making like a video saying, "I'm hot too, I'm not gonna chase." I had no idea guys are making videos like that.
You guys, he is not one bit wrong. And I understand that, yes, this is not all men. It's honestly frustrating that I constantly have to say that. I know, I agree, but it is a not insignificant portion of the male population that is being overly vocal these days. They're literally like foaming at the mouth, jealous of women. And that's why they're constantly talking about women getting flown out, or women being on yachts, or women being gold diggers, women being promiscuous. It's all projection. It's not that the vast majority of women are participating in these activities or inhabit these characteristics. It's that these are the only characteristics of women these men pay attention to, because that's what they would be doing if they had the ability to. That is the facet of femininity that they pay attention to, and they are jealous. They want to be in their shoes so badly. Let's discuss. Hey guys, I'm Hannah Cox. Welcome to my channel where I bring you politically homeless takes on politics and culture. Before we get started, it would mean so much to me if you take a quick second to go and like this video, head over, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss any of my uploads, because they are random. For which I do apologize. I have just been too busy to keep a regular recording schedule these days. I'm on the road too much. So hit that notification bell if you want to get reminded when I randomly drop my videos. So I want to pick this story up with a video I actually came across probably a little over a month ago, and I actually ended up reacting to it. I posted that reel across various social media platforms. I can't remember if I posted it on YouTube Shorts or not, but YouTube Shorts doesn't like me that much. I don't understand what the beef is. Like, a video that I post on any other social media channel will just take off and like do gangbuster numbers. Then on YouTube, it's just a little blip. So for whatever reason, I'm not in the YouTube Shorts God's favorite list at the moment. So you probably haven't seen it. I'm going to run the full thing here.
If you woke up tomorrow as a woman, what would you do?
Go clubbing, probably.
Why would you go clubbing?
I don't know. Get free drinks, I guess, right?
If you woke up tomorrow as a woman, what would you do?
Fuck myself. I mean, I'm the baddest bitch.
If you woke up tomorrow as a woman, what would you do?
I'd probably go to a club and get some rich dudes to buy me drinks. Come here, and then I'm sure there's like rich dudes who want to like pay for like nails, or I don't know.
Would you find a rich dude immediately?
I mean, this is gonna sound weird, but I'm a straight guy. Gay guys still come up to me. So if it happens to me as a guy, then I'm sure as a girl, it would probably happen too.
If you woke up tomorrow as a woman, what would you do?
Dude, I'd be the best woman out there.
Why?
Because I'd rock my shit like it was like no tomorrow. Like,
How you gonna rock your shit?
man, I'd flaunt it. I'd be like, yo, I got it. If you want it, let's get it.
So you be selling ass?
No, not selling that. I'm talking about I know I got it, so you can pay me for it. Like,
That's selling ass.
that's not selling ass. I know what I'm sponsoring, so if I got it, you got it.
If you woke up tomorrow as a woman, what would you do?
Masturbate. I've always wanted to try that. That's what I'd love to do, yeah.
Clubbing, finding a rich dude, getting free stuff, being promiscuous, and showing off their curves. It's weird how I didn't hear one of them say that they'd be a modest trad wife, immediately find a decent average man to settle down with, start popping out babies, and become a stay-at-home mom. Yet a growing number of men are increasingly pushing the notion on women that if they want to be fun and young and go out, that they're whores. If they want to date men who will buy them things, they're gold diggers. That women are refusing to give nice guys a chance because they're promiscuous and they all just want to run and hook up with the hottest guy they can find who has a lot of money. Like, it's all projection. Those are exactly the things these men would do if they could get away with it. At this point, I'm entirely convinced that misogyny is rooted in jealousy. They want the perks of being a woman so bad. So girls, don't let them talk you out of enjoying your youth. They're just hating from outside the club because they can't get in, or at least they can't get somebody to pay their way in. For obvious reasons, this video went viral, mostly because so many people were agreeing with me, but oh my gosh, did it make a lot of these men so mad. This commenter said, that's because we are men. You are the R word, whore. Women are supposed to act like men. I think he meant aren't. You are effing dense. Not once have I ever had a detractor or a hater who can spell. I've pointed this out for some time. Like, I don't think I'm right about everything. I'm very open to criticism, but for some reason, the critics that I tend to attract are people who are illiterate, and this one's no exception. But his point also makes absolutely no sense. He's essentially saying that the reason these men want to act like this if they were women is because they are men, but women aren't supposed to act like men. But if that were the case, then men would just be doing those things in their current capacity as a man. I deserve smarter haters. I've said it many, many times. There's nothing inherently male or female about degenerate behavior. And I actually think that it is sexist towards men to suggest that that is the case. Both men and women, as adults, should know how to control their impulses, should work to be people of good character. Whoring around, using people for their money, selling your body online, none of these things are quality things to do as a person, and I don't care what genitalia you have. Another person responded to my post of this video and said, men are whores, we all know that. They're just mad because their whoring is not going so well. Again, historically, men have been more promiscuous because there has been fewer strings attached to that promiscuity, fewer downsides for them. We are now in an environment where that playing field has been somewhat evened out, although of course women are still at greater risk to be abused or assaulted or taken advantage of and to incur unwanted pregnancies. Like, it's not completely evened out, but birth control and societal standards have led to an environment where women are more likely to be promiscuous, at least in the same capacity as men. But what's interesting about this comment is that if you look at the data, neither men or women are having all that much sex anymore. And I constantly hear this debate being brought up in like red pill, right-leaning, more spaces that cater towards men, where they say men are going their own way, men are refusing to get married, it's a scam for men, which none of the data backs up. But okay, if that's what you want to do, like, you're free to self-isolate. No one's chasing after you and begging you to get back into the dating pool. But they have this attitude of like, women are going to see one day, men are giving up and walking away. And it's just interesting to me because I guess their algorithm is just never going to put women into their feed because they're completely in an echo chamber with other disaffected men. But like, on the other side, feminists and women, especially on platforms that have more women like TikTok, are essentially saying the same thing, that they're giving up on men, that they're choosing to be single. And it's not because of this notion the red pill has of like, I have something to lose or the system's rigged against me. They're just like, hey, men have been really abusive and shitty to me my entire life and I'm sick of it. Like, I see this kind of content every day. This is just one I happened to come across this morning, but a girl posted a video that says, just saw a TikTok that said, girl to girl, what is life teaching you right now? And I kid you not, all of the comments are saying it's best to be alone. These men really did a number on us. And then within her own comment section, it was filling up with women echoing that sentiment. Here's just a snippet of that. One person says, I'm 37. If you can afford to live alone without a man, do it. Find yourself and settle down later. If you want, be happy now. You're not missing out. They will traumatize you, even the good ones. Another woman said, I'd rather be alone. I'm tired of living in a dead bedroom with a man that expects me to be his mother and not contribute. I'm 35 years old. I'm not getting any younger. I've essentially wasted my youth on men. The next comment says, stalked, filmed illegally in private time. I didn't even keep scrolling. Like, it's just more and more and more of this kind of stuff. So I don't know who's telling the truth. Are both sides walking away in equal numbers? I haven't been able to really deduce that from the data that is available. It's all pretty anecdotal right now. I do think as a whole, we can say that a growing number of men and women are giving up on relationships with the opposite gender. But the attitude I hear from women when they're expressing the sentiment is one of like quiet resolve. Like, they're just sort of finally fed up. They just want to keep their peace. They almost seem to have already worked through whatever grief they might have attached to that disappointment or disillusionment. And they really seem to be at a place where they are not lashing out. They're not necessarily like trying to come in and change things. They're just sort of like quietly opting out. Whereas the sentiment I get when I see the men's conversation on this issue is one of like extreme bitterness and anger and a desire for revenge. And often this like, I'm going to go sex traffic women in other countries and passport bro, and that'll show you. It just doesn't give that like this is actually a choice you're making. It kind of seems like this is one you've been forced into because women will not date you. So if I had to guess, I think it's more that women are opting out of relationships with men at a higher percentage or rate than men in the reverse. And I gotta say that this kind of like online misogyny that women keep seeing come across their news feeds is only going to push more and more of them away. And while online misogyny may be leading a lot of women to log off the apps and give up dating, if they're getting their bedding from Cozy Earth, there will be little reason for them to leave their homes ever again or re-enter the dating market. I know that's been true for me, okay? I don't need to date anymore. I'm married, but I lately get so annoyed every time I have to travel for business because the hotel sheets are no longer cutting it. They are so scratchy and stiff in comparison. I am not sleeping well when I'm not home. I cannot wait to get back into my buttery soft, cool sheets. They're just the perfect complement to unwind after a long day, and they make my bedroom feel like a spa, which is where I would be all the time if I could. These sheets are so lightweight and cool and soft that even Phoenix lays in bed with me now, which is a huge achievement because if there's anything I want to do more than go to the spa, it is cuddle Phoenix, which is hard to get him to do, not because he doesn't love me, but because wolf dogs run a little hot-natured. He mostly wants to lay on the floor by like a cold air vent. So getting him to cuddle me in the bed, like that was worth this investment in these sheets alone. Over the past month, Cozy Earth has been offering my listeners a whopping 40% discount, not only on their bedding, but also on their loungewear, pajamas, towels, their entire website. So head over to that website. It is in my show notes. You can go right now, use the code Hannah Cox to access this incredible discount. Don't forget that Father's Day is right around the corner and men love comfort too. While you're doing that, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. While you're there, hit the notification bell so you get updates when I release new videos. And go ahead and drop into the comments. I'm curious if any of you have checked out Cozy Earth, if you're loving it as much as I have. I'm also curious what your reaction is to this episode. Can't wait to read your thoughts. And now back to our regularly scheduled programming. Now, speaking of that online misogyny, one thing that really grinds my gears whenever I talk about the gender war or women's issues, which obviously I care about as a woman and as somebody who is a staunch defender of individual rights. But inevitably, I get some like knuckle dragger, mouth breathing people in my comments being like, I don't know why you're talking about this. I've seen nothing about it. I don't see what the problem is. I've never encountered anybody like this in the real world. And they're almost inevitably older. They tend to be men. Sometimes they're women, but like they're boomers for the most part. And first and foremost, I don't expect you to be super up to speed on the cultural conversations happening around you. Maybe have a little humility and recognize that because of your age, you might be a little disconnected to what's going on, but that doesn't mean that it's not important. Secondarily, I am very willing to bet that these same people foam at the mouth over the trans issues that are constantly covered in right-wing media and on news stations that they watch 24/7. And while I'm pretty sure none of these people has ever even met a trans person because they're like less than 1% of the population, they never have that same attitude when we're talking about those issues. Why? Because they care about them. They think that they matter. They want those people to be shouted down. They don't want to talk about women's issues because they don't want to confront the actual misogyny in their own movement, or maybe have to confront it within themselves. But because I constantly get this kind of crap in my comments, I'm going to give you some examples of the kinds of conversations, the kinds of things that women are seeing said about them so that you can understand the sort of online misogyny that women are getting confronted with at a growing rate right now and how it's impacting them.
So the reason I'm laughing at men today is that I just saw a reel of a girl on a yacht, and obviously it reached the wrong audience. It's all these men roasting her in the comments, like, oh, posting a trip and not the sponsor, like basically all insinuating she had to like do something in return to be on that yacht. And it's funny because I as a girl who lives in Miami, like anyone who knows anything about like going on boats, girls really do just get to go on boats for being hot and have a fun day with their friends and then go home and do nothing in return. So by like insisting that the only way this girl could have ended up on this yacht is by doing something. Like, they're just exposing themselves for being so far removed from any kind of luxury lifestyle. Like, if you really think that a girl has to do something just to simply get on a yacht, like, then you have never been surrounded by anyone that has a yacht. And it's not the flex that they think it is.
Women cannot turn sideways on the internet these days without having some kind of sexist, misogynistic comment pop up in their algorithm. And it's exhausting. Not only is it exhausting, it's so stupid. This homie that made that video was exactly right. The people commenting this are just revealing that they've never actually had any access to luxury or been around nice experiences themselves. Like, to automatically assume because a girl is on a boat or a girl is in a foreign country that she slept with a man in order to get that access is completely insane to me. Now, I get with the growth of OnlyFans, it has exposed this underbelly within women. And like, yes, are there women who will sleep around to get things? Absolutely. That's always been true. Just like there are men who will sleep around to get things, okay? There's gross people on both sides. I've often spoken out against those kinds of women because they hold all of us back. They actually allow more sexism to be leveled at the rest of us because of their behavior. When I was in the music industry, it was pretty common for women who wanted a record deal to sleep with people in order to get ahead. You would be shocked at the number of female celebrities who are out there who willingly slept with people in order to get their deals. And it drove me nuts because I wasn't going to sleep with somebody to get a deal. And so therefore I didn't get ahead as quickly as I might have otherwise, were other girls not willing to take that deal. And I still had to deal with sexual harassment that men thought it was okay to do out in the workplace because so many women were game. So like, seriously, screw those women. Can't stand them. I promise you, I have a bigger beef with them than any man does. But to act as if that is the majority of women means you don't know most women. Or you're just letting people know the quality of the people you surround yourself with. And I personally don't understand why this is so hard for so many men to separate. Like, yes, there are women who might sleep around to get ahead or to get certain access to things, but there are plenty of women who can buy those things for themselves. Women are getting degrees at higher rates. They're working jobs. They're often very good with their money. They're investing, they're saving. They can get credit card points too. Like, it's not preposterous to think that a woman could afford to pay her way on her own vacation or might just have a network of people around her who own a boat that she would go on. But on top of all of that, let's say that a woman did have, some sort of romantic relationship with a man going on that allowed her to like go on a fancy boat, or he took her to another country. It still doesn't explain why so many men are mad about that. And again, I think that goes back to their jealousy, to their desire to be in that position. They want to have the position women have in society of being the ones that are sought after and chased and desired just for existing. They will even say as much. If you read many of these red pill spaces, they'll say women have value and are desired just for existing. They are angry about that. There are plenty of men who make good money and some who even just make moderate money who have no issue with spending money on women. So if they're not mad about it, why are you white knighting and mad for them? And this could be said about many, many issues online right now, but like the actual simp epidemic is the number of men who are trying to white knight for other men and getting emotional for them in comment sections. It is crazy to watch. Like, it needs to be psychoanalyzed. There's something very, very off and very not straight about it. These men stay mad on behalf of other men in the comment sections of women, and then they also tend to take that anger and that resentment into their real life dating experiences as well. Increasingly, women are talking about how men are asking them, well, what do you even bring to the table before they go on a first date? Which is just a very weird and rude question. If you didn't think that the person you were about to enter into a dating experience with had something that you were desirous of or something they brought to the table, like, why did you even ask them out in the first place? Secondarily, they'll often say to them that they need to like vet them, that they need to just get drinks, they need to just get coffees. They can't go to dinner or anything yet because they are so afraid that a woman's going to use them. Never have I ever met a man with means who is worried about being used, which is who actually would be the target of gold diggers. It's always men who don't have any money to begin with that are confident women are after them for their resources.
As we were planning the date, he asked me, or he was like, I prefer doing activity dates for like the first date. Is that okay with you? And I was like, yeah, I don't give a shit. So we go on a walk around like a park and we're just chatting. We're hitting it off. It was a really good first date. And then he brings it up to me again that he doesn't really like to take women out to dinner on the first couple dates within a relationship, and that he prefers just doing activity dates. And I didn't really ask why or anything. Like, part of me was like, but I didn't expand on it because I was like, if it's like finances, that's none of my business. I don't know. I don't really care that much because I don't need someone to treat me to a really expensive, nice dinner. As long as they're going to treat me well, you know, doesn't matter to me. So anyways, we go on a second date. We go to a farmer's market. That was my idea. It was cute and fun. We plan our third date. We go on a hike. And then he brings it up again that he's like, I only like doing activity dates until I feel ready to take someone out to dinner or to get drinks. And at this point, I was like, you know what? I'm going to poke on it. I want to know why. And he tells me that he thinks a lot of women only go on dates to get a free meal. And that really bugged me because I'm sure there are some women who do that. But like, I cannot fathom the thought of spending an hour, hour and a half, maybe even more, getting ready, putting on makeup, picking out an outfit, and then hyping myself up mentally and emotionally to spend time getting to know someone because it's fucking exhausting sometimes. Like, that whole process is exhausting. And then to go on a date that's could be defeating. And then to just say that you did that for a free meal, I don't need to go on a date for someone to buy me a meal.
I saw this video a few months ago and I posted it on my Facebook with this caption. I wrote, how broke are these men that they would go on dates for a free meal, leading them to think that most women would? Because I just got to tell you, I've been a woman for 37 years. I know a ton of women. Like, going to get a free dinner is not worth the effort of spending time with somebody you don't like. Now, I'm not saying there's no experiences that you'd want to have so badly that you would be willing to entertain somebody you don't like for that time period. Like, you know, going to expensive events, going to other countries, like, sure, maybe, but dinner? Anyways, I said, sweeties, hot women don't need dates for free meals. When I was on the dating scene, especially in cities like Miami, restaurants would offer me free meals just to come eat there. Be so for real. Dates are work and they're stressful. I promise you, no attractive woman is so pressed as to need you for a fucking dinner. The way this post made the men so angry, and some women, it made some women very angry. They're like, I've never been offered a free meal. Okay. Like, I got whole diatribes in my comments. I'm not exaggerating. I think this post got like thousands of comments because people were so in their feelings about it, which I think it's odd because it's just facts. Like, when I used to go to Miami with my friends in my 20s, we would literally play this game of walking down Ocean and seeing which restaurant offered us the best deal. They'd be like, ladies, free bottle of champagne. Ladies, free appetizers. Ladies, we comp your meal. And we would just walk down the street until we got the best offer and we'd go eat at that restaurant. It's like one example of many. You go pretty much any major city, you go to a club, you're going to get plucked out of line if you're an attractive girl and taken to a table and given free food and free drinks. You're going to be walking down the street and have club promoters come up to you and offer you the exact same thing. If you go into a restaurant, half the time the manager will come over and comp the meal because it helps businesses attract men when there are beautiful young women eating there or sitting there. This isn't rocket science. Not only that, but because women tend to have wider social networks, they tend to have a lot more people within them. That means they get invited to do more things. I was dead broke throughout most of my 20s, working in the music industry and then starting all over again at the bottom in politics to work up. I never had much money, but I lived a very fun lifestyle and I was not sleeping around to do so. I was backstage at festivals. I was VIP at various sporting events. I was constantly getting free dinners, free parties. Like, it was nonstop free stuff to do. And if you don't know that, that's okay. But it means you probably haven't lived in cities or traveled very much, and you probably haven't been in many of these kinds of spaces. No one's dunking on you for that, but to come out here and try to label any women as whores because they are accessing those kinds of events and spaces just kind of reveals where you're at. This guy in my comments said, I've worked in the restaurant business and I find it hard to believe any restaurant lets you eat for free just for being pretty. Maybe, but margins are thin and I've never seen it. Maybe there's a crooked manager hoping to score. Or maybe you're working in the back room and don't know about all the comp meals that get given out. Or maybe you're working at lower cost restaurants versus trendy, Michelin starred high end spaces. And again, nobody's claiming that like women just eat for free everywhere they go. The point is that they, for the most part, are not so desperate as to have to go find a random guy, get put together, put on their makeup, go meet somebody that could be dangerous, right? Women are always putting themselves in a little bit of a dangerous position when they go on a first date with somebody they don't know just to get a $40 meal. Like, to be sure, there are some hood rat girls out there, I'm sure. I'm sure it does happen. I'm not saying it's a never thing, but to act as if it's the majority of women is so ridiculous. And to not be able to discern the difference between the kinds of women who are like that versus those who are not, I think just says more about you as a man than it does women. You should have enough discernment to be able to spot the difference. And above all else, what I just think is so interesting about watching this phenomenon go down is that men are mad in real life at just the thought of women maybe getting a free meal out of them, which, let's say that happens to you. Like, you're out $40. I mean, is that really like the end of the world? Is it enough to make you be sexist and rude towards all other future romantic partners? I can't like reckon with that in my brain, because the amount that women go through of men trying to use them for sex, of lying to them, of playing them, of ghosting them, and yet it isn't as typical for women to have that happen one or two times and then just like swear off men or get super weird towards men. And yet that seems to be the attitude that this subset of men are expressing at something that doesn't even really seem to have happened to them at all. It's just a fear of it happening, a fear they kind of made up in their heads. Like, I think it's pretty clear who has more to lose in the early stages of dating, at the very least, in this whole picture. And it's not men who might be out the cost of a dinner. The whole thing is just so insecure. It's so beta. It's so unattractive. And what actually makes me laugh most of all is that when I was on the dating scene, my old boss move when I was not into a man was that I would just like grab the whole bill and pay it because I wanted to emasculate them. I didn't do it very often, but like generally, if I was somewhat interested in a man, had a pleasant time, I always let them pay for my meal. I never had a man ask me to split a bill or ask me to pick up a meal. Like, that is just foreign to me. But I would occasionally insert myself if I thought the guy was just a total jerk and I couldn't stand him, because I wanted to emasculate him and because I wanted him to know that like I did not owe you anything. So yeah, my whole approach to dinners on dates was like completely flipped from what these men might think. But not only are they mad about this whole conjectured situation, they're also mad when women say that they aren't going to use them for dinners. As I said, they were writing me entire essays on my Facebook, calling me names, telling me I wasn't that pretty, which is just funny. Like, okay, I still get more free meals than you did, it seems. I could write an entire book, though, on how so many men seem to have very bad values around the women that they are selecting. They tend to prioritize the wrong things. Like, I often hear many of these same kinds of men say they don't care about a woman's education. They don't care about her career, which is completely brain dead to me. You don't care if your future partner is intelligent, if she has other ambitions or pursuits. You don't care if she has a good work ethic. That's weird. That's very weird. It's probably not going to end well for you, and it's certainly not going to benefit your kids. Like, the only people who don't care about those things are people who are also not really hitting it out of the park on those metrics. Meanwhile, I'll often hear these men say that they just care if a woman's attractive, if she's thin, if she's nice to them. It's all very superficial, and it really just does trace back to the fact that I think this population within the male demographic lacks discernment, lacks judgment, maybe lacks intelligence themselves. Because to me, when I'm hearing stories about dating women, it is very apparent right out the gate who's a person of quality and character and who is not.
Dude, being a girl on Hinge is a different level. I matched with this girl during the Eastern Conference Finals. We matched because she said she's looking for someone who likes the Knicks. Immediately, we start talking about the Knicks, and she says, wouldn't it be a fun first date to go to Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals? And I was like, that would be a fun date. Do you have tickets? And she was like, no, but they're not that expensive. They were $700 each. But we ended up still talking. And then after the Knicks lost in Game 6, I talked to her again. And she said that she went on 3 separate dates. She went to every home game during the Eastern Conference Finals with 3 separate guys. I mean, that is crazy work. You cannot tell me that women have it harder than dudes out here in the dating world.
Okay, just because she got free stuff does not mean that men have it harder than women in the dating world, okay? There's a lot more that can go on and happen besides that. But yes, this should have been obvious to you from the get-go. She says that she's looking for a man who's interested in a sports team. And you were like, match made in heaven, here I am. Like, it didn't occur to you she was fishing right then and there. No, of course it didn't, because you actually fell for like the girl who likes sports whole stereotype that movies have sold you. It's crazy. I like this band and she likes this band. I like the sports team and she likes the sports team. I cannot wrap my mind around the fact that that is how a lot of men seem to pick their partners, but it's regardless, it seems to be true. But even then, once he gets past the first phase, he doesn't notice that she is like very obviously pushing for him to buy her tickets to the game. This should not have caught you out of left field. Honestly, you got to respect her game, if anything. And I really can't feel sorry for anybody who fell for it. This is not subtle. But of course, in his comments, you had some of the same kind of response. Guy says, God, somebody's future wife is effing strangers for basketball tickets. What a horrible world we live in. Who said she slept with them? Like, I really think a lot of these kinds of guys very much underestimate how much people, particularly men, just want pretty women around. I knew so many men when I was in my 20s who were probably in their like late 30s, 40s, 50s, like way outside the age range I would typically have considered dating, and who really were never creepy towards me, never even hit on me, but who would invite me to do things because it made them look good to have young, pretty girls around them. On top of that, in Nashville at least, there were also just like a lot of successful guys who had extra tickets to things, who had boxes at various stadiums, and who were quite generous with their tickets and other items when they weren't using them. So you don't even know that this woman necessarily was on like a date with all of these men. She just was able to go to 3 different games. Does seem like she was hustling for those tickets. But to assume that somebody is sleeping around to access that is just ridiculous. Like, even the data around OnlyFans, I think this is fascinating. This is from a Business Insider report recently, but they found that many OnlyFans creators report the majority of the conversations they're having with their subscribers are not explicitly sexual. A creator mentioned that 60% of their conversations are actually non-sexual and can lead to genuine connections with subscribers. While some conversations may involve sexual content, a significant portion of interactions are focused on building relationships, fan interaction, and providing general entertainment. I really liked this person's response to the entire conversation we're having today. They said the whole food date myth is a coat for men with horrible attitudes and entitled mindsets who are just bitter that women would not sleep with them in exchange for a free meal. Meanwhile, these same men have no problem pretending to be interested in a woman in order to get sex. If a man whines about being used for a free food date or any others, tell them to cry harder. Most of the fear men have of being used is hypocritical at best because, again, she's absolutely right. Men have no problem using women in other regards. And when it's not, I still think that it is based in men's own lack of faith and their discernment, or it's based in projection. It's based in what they know they would be doing if they could get away with it, and they're jealous and mad that you get to live that way and they don't. But in conclusion, dating, healthy dating, is about vulnerability. It's about giving. You have to understand that if you're going to be able to form healthy, lasting connections. And right now, it just seems like everybody's too afraid of losing that they call the game before it even starts. Being in relationships requires some bravery. You probably are going to get used in some regard or another, and you are going to use the other person in some regard or another, because in a healthy relationship, there is taking and giving. That's why you're there. Women do get a lot of things for free in society. It's true. Women create value by existing. They can create life. Men value beauty. Men, though, can create value in other ways, and that's okay. I do understand why some men look at the other side and think that the grass is greener, but when you really think about it, men can go on night jogs. They can turn gray and still be called sexy. They have a wider range of higher paying jobs that they can pick from, and they're more likely to have male mentors at the top in those jobs, which allows them to move up the ladder more quickly without being pressured for sex along the way. So in the end, I think it all evens out. And I think ultimately these men would be much better off if they leaned into their strengths, if they found ways to create values in the shoes that they're currently in, and if they stopped coveting what women have. All right, guys, I hope you like this episode. Make sure to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Head over to my show notes for links to my other social platforms if you want to follow me there. And please do take note of my Substack, which I have finally started back up after 3 years. It's been on pause, but I really miss being able to write more contemplatively and about things that are broader than just politics. So I have relaunched it over the past couple of weeks. I hope you'll subscribe and check me out there too.